It's the final episode of this sit and go. We are right on the money bubble, too. It's pretty exciting, Grant.
It is exciting because first place is $5,000 plus a $100 nitrogen sports bet, but fourth place gets absolutely nothing. There's a lot on the line here.
And we still have two-time bracelet winner and WPT champion Brandon Cantu among the people vying for that $5,000 first place prize. Let's check it out and shuffle up and deal. Love it when we're on the bubble.
Let's see if anybody abuses it. The obvious candidate would be TJ because he has all the chips here.
He's been pretty pushy for the most part. I would expect he's probably going to do that, although we'll see what kind of shove stacks people have. Like Joseph, for example, classic example of a shove stack.
Well, almost. I mean, he's almost at 20 blinds.
Yeah, but if TJ opens, it's a great stack to shove against him.
Well, this is a pretty clear open, even if it wasn't the bubble.
Just got to feel good to have 39,000 chips in front of you when no one else has anything close to that.
Yeah, good times.
Cantu just gets rid of it. Digital Dan, not a shove stack. Cantu has a bit of a shove stack, too, for sure.
Dan does have a stack that can threaten TJ.
Yep. Dan could decide to even call there, but I guess this is just, we're on the bubble, so he's just not going to play any of these marginal spots, which is reasonable.
Yeah, why not?
But that's, of course, goes to why TJ should be trying to push people around on the bubble, even with shove stacks in play. You can probably 2.3x it and just make money without having to do anything else.
Bubble abuse is something that's been known for a long time. You see it all the time, but I think most people still underutilize it.
Yeah. I think it's one thing to think about. It's another thing to execute.
Yep.
And it's not as easy as it seems. You have to really just be willing to keep throwing your feet in the fire.
Right. Just because you got 3-bet doesn't mean they're fighting back. Sometimes they have it.
Yeah. They're usually not fighting back. Unless their name is you or me. We might fight back sometimes.
Maybe sometimes.
Once in a while.
Don't try to bully us.
We will show you something. All right, Joseph's here. He
moves
in.
in.
Move in, and this is a very Cantu calls right away.
I mean,
good for him.
Joseph could just call there. He's got 18 blinds. It's a min raise.
That's true, but it's a reasonable move in also just to pick up. It's a significant pot for Joseph to win.
7
of
of diamonds
trouble though
is a
right
nice
now.
card.
Ooh,
there
great
it is.
card for him. And he will get the double up. I like how Cantu played this. He called right away. He understands that Joseph's going to be shoving wider here, and Cantu's doing great against his range, even though Cantu is now very short himself.
Yep. It's a bit of a rough one for Cantu there.
Oh, by the way, I said earlier Cantu had a shove stack. I was wrong. That's not true at all. He did not. He had like 35, 37.
Now
blinds.
he does. So you were prophesizing.
Yeah, I misread the
Nostradamus over here.
misread his stack before.
But you didn't misread the entrails, Jonathan.
No, I didn't. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I misread stacks only.
Entrails, though, pretty good reader of entrails.
Really good reader of entrails. In fact,
especially sheep entrails.
Go get me a sheep right now. I'm going to tell you something about tomorrow. I'll tell you if it's going to rain.
Okay. I'll get that later.
I also have an app on my phone that does that same thing. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. The app is a little
It's called Entrails. Digital Entrails.
Digital Dan, by the way, speaking of digital things, is not digital entrails. He's digital gold.
Joseph suddenly has something to protect. Throws away the Jack 10. He probably would have moved in if it was if he had a stack like he did last time.
TJ's got to call this hand.
Interesting that Digital Dan decides to open here. I guess with Brandon Cantu out of the hand, there are no shove stacks really
right,
anymore.
and the button is powerful, and every pot means a lot now because the blinds have gone up and there's antes involved. There is no 3-bet.
Yeah, that is all wrong.
Software is trying to take over the world, and it's a hard job to take over the world. So
yes, that's right. We will fight back against the singularity. Digital Dan looks like he's going to continue.
I'm assuming that will do it.
It's going to have to. And you can see the cards coming in, even though we didn't see any of the action that time. I'm just going to blame the computers for this one, Skynet.
I mean, it is dangerous to blame the computers because they are the ones who will be in power.
It's true. I would like to, but I, for one, welcome our new computing overlords.
See, you went about that all wrong. The key mistake that we make as humans is anthropomorphizing the computers and thinking they'll have similar thoughts and feelings to us.
Sure.
Including emotions such as feeling as though you were unfair to the computers just now. The computer doesn't care, Jonathan. You're going to be totally fine.
No matter what I do?
You should have known that. Well, I don't know what they're looking for. It's not no matter what you do. You just don't know what not to do.
Well, then it's all the same, isn't it? All right, Joseph's going to fold. We get blind versus blind.
Ooh,
whoa.
That's a hand.
That's a hand. TJ could actually. I kind of like limping here. Brandon's been raising a lot and is short.
He does limp, and that's a good play. I don't. The thing is, Cantu's been raising when he had a stack, though.
That is true. But yeah, that's true. Cantu could just shove there, too.
I mean, it's a bad play.
Yeah. You don't need to do that. TJ really giving Cantu some rope. Cantu not interested.
Well, it's a pretty bad flop and turn for TJ, although he
Yeah.
shouldn't be too afraid because no bet went in on the flop.
Cantu's usually going to bet to protect if he has a queen. And if he has a flush draw, he's usually going to bet also. And
Or
I mean,
flush.
It's kind of raise or fold here for Cantu. Oh, I guess no, he does have a 3.
Yeah, he can call.
He does. It's not crazy.
TJ could just be deciding to bully here easily.
Yep. This is a pretty good spot for TJ to put in another bet if he wants. He could also check and let Brandon try and bluff with hearts.
The majority of Cantu's range here is like the king of hearts, a 3 or an 8.
Cantu's often going to bet the king of hearts on the flop, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Or sometimes even raise it pre. So I don't know if he has that many hearts.
That's why I excluded the ace of hearts.
Yeah. I feel like we're probably supposed to bet to try and get value out of an 8. But I don't know if we were going to get value out of an 8. But Cantu's probably going to fold anyway, honestly.
It's a pretty thin value spot for aces.
It
there.
is. It's perfectly fine to check.
And TJ keeps accumulating.
Yeah. Well, he had it that time. I just like to say he had it. I read the entrails. He had aces.
Oh, no, don't. Do the future.
I
Don't
didn't-
do the past.
No, I didn't look at his hand. I just read the entrails. That's what told me. I'm doing all these hands without actually looking, at the screen or anything. So, it's just all entrails for me all the time. All right, Joseph, reasonable opening hand, but decides not to do it.
I guess because Cantu has a shove stack, that makes it a reasonable fold.
It's reasonable, but Cantu has got a little bit too much of a stack to just go nuts. Also, he's got almost 20 blinds. Well, maybe he's
No,
on
he
15
doesn't.
now, right?
No, he's maybe even lower than that.
Yeah, I guess
I
he
think
just,
to the
he just
point.
lost that pot.
I think to the point where if TJ opened King 9 there, he would have had to call it
he
off.
actually has 13.
Yeah,
13.
TJ would have had to consider calling off if Cantu moved in there
Yeah.
over and open. Cantu just moves it in.
That's going to work.
Yeah, we don't know what he has, but it doesn't matter.
I know what he had.
Don't tell me. I'm trying to learn how to do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, what do you see? Just look,
Don't
past
put,
the
don't put
abdomen.
me on the spot in front of all the people. Let me just figure it out.
Okay, figure it out, but tell us what you think right
I think
now.
he had a sheep blood.
No, that's definitely wrong.
Oh.
Here's a hint. It's playing cards.
Oh. I was just going with what I saw.
Yeah, I understand. It's a common mistake. Rookie mistake.
Okay.
All right, well. Okay. TJ still with all the chips. I think TJ should still be trying to bully everyone in the bubble. Although Cantu now has what? He has 14, 15 blinds?
Yeah.
This is obvious. Oh, wow.
Ooh, that is a bit.
That can't
I
be
mean,
right.
Cantu was going to move in. You could call 15 blinds
he
with
probably
your stack.
He probably would have folded. But that's okay. I think it's an open anyway. Digital Dan going to fold. Joseph going to fold. Well, TJ, maybe he saw something in Cantu and decided Cantu's going with that hand, so I'm just going to give it up. But otherwise, it seems a little tight.
It does seem a little tight.
Even with Cantu having the 15 blinds.
I mean, if he's going to shove every hand, then you call with Queen Jack.
Right.
If he's not going to shove every hand, then you're not in that much danger.
Right.
And he's not going to shove a lot.
Yeah. But having said all that, TJ gets to keep an extra 1,000 chips or so because
Or lose out on bursting the bubble and busting
he
Brendan
wasn't going to
Cantu.
call. He wasn't going to call.
True. But he could have if he wanted to.
Well said. Digital Dan, known, of course, as Digital Dan because he came up with the phrase, "Let's digitize everything, people," which became a popular club slogan in the late 2000s.
Yeah. A lot of Daft Punk
late
shows.
Aughts, the late aughts. A little what?
Daft Punk shows
Yeah.
would start with that.
Let's digitize everything, people. Dan actually would get up in front of the crowd right after the opening act as Daft Punk was about to come on and yell that. And, of course, the crowd went nuts.
Of course they went nuts.
And that's why they call him Digital Dan. People actually have asked us, why do they call him Digital Dan? And that's the
Now you
reason.
know.
That's the reason.
You can find YouTube videos of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You should stop this video and Google that right now.
No, you should not. Because TJ
Ooh,
just
look at
3-bet
this.
with the King 6.
I
Now, this
love
is
it.
an interesting.
This is great.
This is a bubble bully thing here because Dan has a stack that he can't really risk with a marginal hand.
Dan has to fold right now, and this is the absolute power of playing the bubble as a big stack. This is a beautiful play by TJ.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The hand before TJ folds Queen Jack under the gun, but in the cutoff, and then immediately 3-bets King 6 off. It's a different spot, but still, it really shows you how he's maneuvering through this.
It all has to do with Cantu being on his left with a short
Yeah.
stack.
Right. He's saying to Digital Dan, what are you going to do, buddy? You got to have a monster to keep playing now because Cantu's short.
I mean, Dan could 4-bet not to a stack committing size.
Yep. He could make it 9K?
Yeah.
9 point. 9.8K and then hope TJ folds.
Yep.
Or you can just fold and not deal with it, which
You
is
could.
probably the right play mostly. Until TJ shows you that TJ hasn't been doing this.
I mean, he has actually 3-bet out of the big blind quite a few times. He's had it every time, but Dan doesn't know that.
But on the bubble, he hasn't done things that look like he's trying to exploit the bubble.
That's true.
So if he does it again, you could start to think it's happening. But I would think the first time he's supposed to get away with it. Like Ace-9's not doing well against TJ's value there, that's for sure.
Oh, that's definitely for sure.
So if you don't think he has many bluffs, you just probably should throw it away.
I don't know what to think.
Digital Dan has got 60 blinds anyway. So it's reasonable just to stay out of the way. Be a little nitty.
TJ is probably just going to fold this, right?
He could fold. He could raise. He could do all sorts of things. I think a limp is the thing he probably shouldn't do.
He is going to limp, though.
Can't do.
Could move in with his
I'm
hand.
going to guess it's a candidate. It's probably just a little too good.
Suited, it would definitely be too good. I don't know. It's close.
It's the computer hand. Who doesn't want to have the computer hand?
Well, he's got the backdoor third nut flush draw.
I mean, and this Broadway draw for crying out loud. TJ with the wheel draw.
Flopped it all.
Cantu checks back, knowing the queen high is going to be good a lot there. And wow,
Well,
that's
they
actually an
both-
incredible card.
Both hit a 7. I think
Cantu should get at least one bet.
will probably go in. When TJ bets, Cantu's going to be a little concerned that TJ has a 10.
But he knows he has to call.
Yeah.
He absolutely knows he has to call this one. If TJ bets on the river, that's a different story. But there's no way World Poker Tour champion Brandon Cantu is going to fold on this bet. No chance.
This is a pot-sized bet.
Yep. You don't love it, but you have to call once. And now he's saying, all right, just check the river, buddy.
Well, that's a easy-ish
It's a
card
club.
to call.
It's a club.
But nobody bet the flop.
I know.
And it was limped pre-flop.
TJ bets again, though. You're not in great shape against his value. You're doing horrible. Obviously, you can only catch bluffs, right? Can't be any value of any kind. TJ though is not going to bet because he actually has something. Oh my goodness gracious!
I don't
is
trust
TJ
your.
gonna bet?
I don't trust your entrail reads at all.
TJ's betting.
Is this a bluff or a
I
value
don't know
bet?
what it is. Is he trying to get Brandon off a 10?
That's not going to happen.
I don't think Brandon's going to call this though. I think he's going to get Brandon off a 7.
But is that really his intent?
I don't know what his intent is.
This is one of those bets that I just don't get it. I don't know what he's doing.
I can't imagine you're trying to fold out a chop here because it's so hard to think Cantu has a 7. If Cantu has a deuce, he's often going to fold anyway. If he has a 10,
it's not a chop.
Oh my gosh, it's not a chop.
If he had under a 10, it would be a chop.
I thought the 10s were paired, not the aces were paired when I was saying all this. You're right. You're right. Obviously, he was. If I thought the 10s were paired, he'd be trying to fold out one pair, not trip 10s. But interesting spot here for Cantu. It's hard to put TJ on an ace. It's possible, though. He could have an ace. He could have limped an ace and checked once to be slow playing.
I'm more worried about a 10 if I'm Cantu. I think a 10 is a legit value bet when no bet goes in on the flop. I don't think the flush draw matters. I don't think Cantu ever has an ace. So I think TJ could easily bet a 10.
We've already seen Cantu make some tight folds against TJ. Remember last episode, we were already on the bubble. Cantu folded ace high on a double paired board when it checked all the way to the river. And then Cantu just threw it away. Incorrectly, by the way. TJ was bluffing that time. This is a super tough spot, though, for Brandon.
Looks like he's going to throw it away.
Yeah. Oh.
They're just looking at it.
And
Now
it does
throwing it
go.
away.
That is the power of the bubble right there.
No, I'm not
He's
sure.
just going to show a 7. That is not going to make Brandon feel any better.
I'm not sure if that was what TJ was intending to do there. I still don't really think it's a good bet.
It's possible it was a bet, sort of, I don't want to have to deal with this, so I'm going to bet myself rather than check and have to deal with the bet. But
yeah,
that's
not a good bet.
I'm not going to have a moral thought about it, unlike you.
It is moral.
Apparently, you feel like, some things are good, some things are bad. There's a whole spectrum of what kind of people there are in the world.
Yeah, no, you're not.
That's you.
That's me.
And you know what? It's
Hey,
abominable.
look at Joseph and his aces, okay?
Yep.
Just have a happy time for once.
This is a really nice spot for Joseph, especially if someone like, say, Brandon Cantu can decide to get a good enough hand that he can shove.
1275.
2.5x. TJ's asking about it. Seems curious. And he apparently has a hand.
Well, he at least has a play. Well,
Yeah.
if he calls, he probably has at least somewhat of a hand.
What a
here.
great setup for Cantu to go for the squeeze, but he chooses not to. Obviously, it would have been a disaster, but
Yeah.
the open and the call, he's got. You could tell he paused for a second, probably thinking about that. Like, well,
If he had king 10 or better, I think he would.
oh yeah. If he might have done it with the suited connector too.
He just got 5-4 clubs here, and he flops a 5
And 2 backdoors.
Probably going to give Joseph at least one bet out of this.
Yeah.
Or win a quarter of the time.
I mean, he can also, if he gets there, he's probably going to bust Joseph. A 5 or a 4 is probably going to bust him.
Running clubs too.
Yep. Running straight. Yeah, running straight, maybe not.
Yeah. Joseph would be happy to see a raise here. I mean, maybe not happy, but he would just go with it.
This feels like a really straightforward call for TJ. And that's what he's going to do. Okay, let's see if TJ can pick up some equity here or take the lead. That is
definitely equity.
That should slow down Joseph at least a little bit.
I think Joseph will check. I think TJ could do either thing here. He could either check or bet, and I think both are fine plays.
I think I kind of like a bet, actually. Because that way, if we improve on the river, we get to have a bigger pot to take a shot at.
Well, I mean, Joseph's not going to put us on clubs anyway.
That's true, but we get to increase the pot size.
Joseph should probably be going for value once it goes check on the turn.
What are you losing to now? 7-8? I mean,
that's pretty unlikely.
You can beat 9-10. I think I like this bet.
Yeah, good job, Joseph.
I don't know if he's going to get called, but you're trying to get value out of a 10, and maybe TJ can have a 9 sometimes.
About a little bit less than a half pot bet, trying to make sure that TJ calls sometimes with a hand like he has.
Yeah. 2 7s. It's a tough spot here for TJ.
Could be putting Joseph on missed diamonds. Could just be putting him on 2 overs that are trying to bully him.
It went check on the turn, so you sort of open the door back up for Joseph to maybe take a shot at a bluff. That's a reason to call.
Joseph's not super bluffy usually, though.
True.
TJ does make the call.
This is an okay call.
It's a close spot. I think folding is probably slightly better just because of the part of our range that we have there.
That's fair. But at least we can afford it. You know, this doesn't hurt TJ in any way, in any reasonable way. He can still keep bullying everyone on the bubble and get those chips back, and he can show that he can't be bluffed easily. At least, you know, there's a little bit of that. I don't know if that's a lot. There's not a lot of meta game use there probably, but something. That's all I got.
All right, blinds are up, and we are still on the bubble. Keep in mind, first place is $5K, second place $2K, third place $1K, and first place still gets one of those sweet, sweet $50 nitrogen sports bets.
Here's Brandon Cantu with a real hand, and of course, now he's down to less than 11 blinds, 10.5 to be exact.
Definite move-in spot.
Yep, easy move-in. Digital Dan, there's nothing to do except fold. Same thing for Joseph.
Cantu gets to win again.
Yep. This is pretty fun though, as Grant was saying. 5,000 for first, 2 for second, 1 for third, and nothing for fourth. It's just like the weakest link. You leave with nothing. So that'll be fun to see someone go home and cry. We like the pain.
Did they say that on the weakest link? Everybody just always said, you are the weakest link, goodbye.
She also would tell people, the person I think who finished second, she would say, and you leave with nothing.
Are you
she
sure?
She was really mean.
I feel like you're making it up.
No, that was
probably
real.
From something else.
It might be. It's a game show of some sort. All right, so we'll get to watch again how the bullying happens now that Cantu's not in the hand. Joseph might just not even decide to play this hand.
I mean, it's a pretty good hand, small to big.
It is. If you get the feeling that TJ is going to just push you around because you're on the bubble, you can either raise or fold it, as opposed to do a more normal limping strategy here.
Well, it looks like TJ's not going to push him around because he has the nut low, decided not to raise.
Yep.
The pot is going to be TJ's for the taking.
It's true.
And it looks like he's got nefarious intentions here.
This is a great spot just to bet the minimum. Looks like that's what he's going to do.
No,
Oh, no.
TJ never bets
mind.
the minimum. Remember, his sizing is enormous all the time.
I thought he was going to do
This
it that
is
time.
for him the minimum.
Yeah.
Oh, like
It's like, I'm going to bet it's small. I'm going
it's
to bet
not.
small.
It's not a full pot size bet.
It's only 2/3 of the pot.
So TJ just does some delayed bullying.
Yep.
It's like
That worked out great.
it's like high school bullying instead of middle school bullying. You know.
It's like you bully them when they're in 12th grade now,
Yeah.
when they're in 10th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you older person. You suck. That's what that is.
That's TJ.
That's elder abuse.
TJ, 2018.
We have video of it. Digital Dan. Under the
Yep.
gun with Trash. The Trash Man, Digital Dan.
That's pretty good.
It actually is pretty good, the
I don't-
Trash Man. I think it's a pretty sweet nickname. Also a good nickname for a serial killer.
Yeah, if he like dumps people in the trash,
Cantu moving in with the King High.
makes sense.
And TJ a little bit unhappy. Cantu didn't do that last time when he had the aces, but they don't always do it when you want them to. Cantu had a blocker and had less blinds and just moved in. Good play by him. He's going to need a double, though.
He's gonna need more than a double, Jonathan.
What else is he going to need?
The love of his family.
Well, so one of these things is attainable and the other is not.
Oh, hopefully that doesn't hit too close to home.
Hopefully not, you know. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just kidding. Don't know anything. That's not based on any knowledge. This is easy open for TJ here.
And he's gonna have to call off if Cantu moves in.
Wow, and said he folds.
He's really terrified of that 3-bet shove.
Yeah. This is a good enough hand. He could absolutely open comfortably.
Digital Dan's probably gonna call here.
Yeah, he's supposed to call. You don't love it.
Yeah,
but
he
there
does
is.
it. He knows the rules. You have to call with ace-7.
Yep. You never love it. You always do it.
An ace is dead, so that's not great for Dan's equity.
But still 59%. That's a little bit better
Somehow
now.
misses everybody.
One more card, and this is going to be it for Cantu is done.
Brandon Cantu, WPT champ, but not the champ of this sit and go.
Cantu can't do that one. I don't know. I wanted to work that in
That was
somehow.
real good, Jonathan.
Yeah.
But that is a rough time when you bubble. He did bubble.
Yeah.
That sucks.
He made actually a lot of, he really tried to, hang in there, too, and wait for good spots, He didn't have a whole lot to work with card-wise, I would say, this entire sit and go.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, TJ's getting aces and queens and ace-king several times and all that stuff, and Cantu's just sort of sitting there with a lot of trash. Still had a chance.
But now we're in the money, and everybody's happy.
Also, he almost busted Joseph when Joseph got in with 10 high
Oh,
against
right.
his ace-jack.
Yeah, that's pretty unlucky.
So he lost both of those all-ins. That's pretty tough. But now, like you said, we're in the money now. Everything's going to be a little bit different. Digital Dan. The smile of a man who cannot lose. He's free rolling the sit and go
Depends
now.
on what he decides to do afterwards. What if he goes out and buys a car
Yeah.
with that money that he wouldn't have otherwise bought? Then the car breaks down, and then the mechanic won't fix it.
You can't find another mechanic.
No,
It's a union
it's a
thing.
specialized car.
Well, then he can have the pride, though, the pride of knowing that he bought a car that people refuse to fix.
That's always a good car.
So as you see, with losing Brandon Cantu and the digital one by busting Cantu, almost as many chips now as TJ. He's in great shape.
Yeah, we got a real fight now, and he's got a good hand.
Pretty good hand. Joseph does not have a good hand.
That's great analysis. That's what they pay you for.
TJ probably supposed to call this. In fact, definitely supposed to
We
call
saw him
this.
3-bet with King 6 before, but that was on the bubble and didn't hit a shorter stack.
It's a different deal now. I think this is a pretty clear call, but he decides to fold. I think he wants just better hands to actually call with. I think if you're not going to call that when you've got a king, then you probably should be 3-betting it most of the time unless you pick up something on the opponent.
Look how happy Dan is.
He just loves, he loves lots of things, as we know. Chocolate, doves, dove bars, chocolate bars, bars.
Is that all?
Those are the things that he loves.
Oh, okay.
We had him fill out a questionnaire beforehand. I was just
Yeah.
reading off that. You know that, of course, Grant, but
Of course.
the audience doesn't.
All right, nice hand for TJ in the small blind.
You can play this as a limp or as a raise. See what he decides to do. I mean, I guess that's true for most hands, but
I think every hand, in fact.
well, you could also fold, but he's never folding this one, though. And he does decide to raise it up.
Was it 18? Yeah, 18. And Dan, of course, can't fold the ace in the big blind here.
No way.
He could
No
3-bet.
how. He could. But he could also... Joseph, though, is significantly shorter than
He's
the two of
not
them.
that much shorter. Joseph has
What does he
almost
have?
40 blinds.
Oh, does he? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
He
think-
could 3-bet. I don't think we need to turn our hand into a bluff here.
But it doesn't flop that well, and we have
No.
a blocker, so
It's
I
true.
think it's fine.
It's true, but
Well,
look how pretty this is.
little something for everybody. Dan flops an ace, and TJ flops backdoors and an 8.
Yep. TJ gonna bet here? It looks like that. That seems. Maybe he was considering betting because he would normally bet on this board. Feels like this is a good check spot to me. He's gonna bet though.
Big bet again.
See, now it's not the bubble anymore, so there's no way the digital one's gonna fold to 1 bet here.
I guess it wasn't that big of a bet for TJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, Digital Dan is definitely calling. We might even consider raising, but I don't think that would be a good
I
idea.
don't like raising. I like a call here.
Me too. Me
Good
too.
play by the digital.
Oh!
Whoa!
Well,
TJ checks it. I'm not
I think you're
sure.
supposed to keep betting there.
He's checking to not lose a jack, I guess.
But I guess if you're doing range-based stuff, the 8 is better for Dan's range.
It is, actually. Normally he would check this card. And
And
Dan
Dan's
is going to
gonna
bet.
I don't know. I think I like checking back there for
I
Dan.
think Dan's plan is to bet and then check back on the river. It would have to be, right? If he gets called here.
There's not a ton of draws. I wouldn't be afraid of that many things. I think checking is a little bit better. Just
I agree.
To let TJ bluff the river if TJ has something like 5 high and is giving up now, but might feel obligated to take a shot on the river.
Yep. TJ can have some hands that are going to call that we'd want to call like Queen 10 or 9-10.
You think
But-
TJ should raise here, by the way?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Dan doesn't rate to have very many strong
Well, he
hands.
did.
here.
TJ has made this a significant pot now. If Dan decides to continue, this pot is going to get big.
Okay, so this is an interesting move by TJ in that the spot that Dan is in is he clearly can beat no value of any kind.
Yes.
Can't beat anything. TJ has what? Jack, good 8s, ace, and aces for value.
He could also have hands like 9-10, Queen 10, King 10 of diamonds, hands like that.
He could.
And just decide to play them for more fold equity than if you just
Yes.
continued betting.
He could. You're right.
It's an
But
interesting
it's
spot.
a dangerous spot because Dan rates to have trip 8s a fair amount if TJ himself doesn't have an 8. So he's less likely probably to make this move on this
Right,
board.
Dan should have 8s in his range, so I think Dan should be.
calls.
Well, this is getting a little dicey unless an ace comes off. I don't know. Like Dan's
I
not
mean,
going to
there's-
be able to call another bet, is he?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends on that card.
That's a-
King 10 is
King
the
10
only
of
thing.
diamonds got there, and 9-10 got there.
Right, 9-10 gets there. That's the real
And
danger.
TJ made a full house on that card, by the way. Not that it matters.
TJ's going to move in. And now
Wow.
Dan has got... Dan still has 40 blinds.
This was TJ's plan with choosing the check raise the turn instead of bet the turn, is to play for stacks.
Yep.
And he's made it so he can make a pot-sized bet on the river, and now Dan's in a spot where I think he just has to fold.
I think so. While TJ's been aggressive, he hasn't been this aggressive. We haven't seen him do anything like this. I mean, have we seen TJ check raise at any point?
No, we have not.
Have we seen anyone check? People don't really check raise anymore in poker.
I think what's going through Dan's head is he's expecting that TJ would have bet an 8 on the turn instead of check raising an 8 on the turn. It feels a little fishy that TJ took this line. He'd be so worried that Dan would check back, I think, in Dan's mind, and that's what's going through Dan's head.
At the same point, we need TJ to have Queen 10 and be turning his queen into a bluff, which I don't know that he would do. 9-10 gets there. We lose to all the value. TJ's got to have weird diamonds.
He could have low diamonds.
He could have
that
low
he's turning
diamonds.
into a bluff, but it's a really high variance spot to take this huge bluff line.
And here's the thing. Like, we like to talk about distribution. Of all the hands that Dan's calling the check raise with, this may be the worst one. This and ace deuce may be the worst
I don't
possible
think he's
hands.
calling with Jack X of diamonds. So
Okay,
There's
that's
that.
fair. That's fair.
oh my
he does call.
God, he calls, and that's
Wow.
it. Dan is out.
Joseph moves on up in the money. TJ now has all the chips. Ooh, Digital Dan. He tried to be a hero. Flew a little too close to the sun that time.
Wow,
That is a humongous pot. Look at that, 73,000 chips in that pot. I think we started with 96,000 total.
TJ is in great shape to win the first place 5K
Yes.
and Nitro Sports Bet. Great shape after that hand.
Wow. Wow, that hand sort of materialized out of nowhere, too. That really didn't have to go that way.
I mean, Dan had 60 blinds to start the hand.
Dan had 40 blinds on the river. He could have just folded and still had 40 blinds.
That was a big one.
That's a reason to fold. At the same point, you could look at it and say, like, if I call and I'm right, I get to win so much. There's that. Look at this now. Better than 3-1.
Although Joseph
Chip
does have a very playable stack. I
Yes.
mean, if he can take his time and find good spots.
35 blinds is very good. But wow, look at TJ.
Everything's been going right for TJ.
He's got almost 130 blinds to Joseph's 35.
I think when TJ moved in there, he was just hoping and praying that the end had 9-10. And then
Or the other 8.
Yeah, but the 9-10 is like the death card when the queen comes
Of
on the river.
course.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, 9-10 is amazing because it's going to be an insta-call. But then when Dan thinks for a while, like, I guess he doesn't even have an 8. It's hard to get
Maybe I
called.
should have bet 10K. You know?
Yeah. But
But
then
it
now
worked
you're very
out.
happy.
Worked out great.
Yeah, he got to play for stacks. That's just what he wanted. TJ going to play the 9-deuce off. I guess he feels like everything's going great. Joseph's short, and he's got all the chips. Why not?
Well, if
in
he's going to
position.
play these parts of his range
Yes.
heads up, he should probably raise him.
Unless he's got a holistic limping strategy now that he's heads up on the
Then he
button.
should fold this hand.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
There should be some folds in your range
Yeah.
in a heads-up match.
Yeah. This would probably would normally be one of them if it's not going to be a raise anyway. Anyway, TJ's going to bet, and let's see if Joseph decides to hang around or not. Probably for one bet he's going to hang.
No,
Nope.
he just folds. Joseph, the ICM's over. You can call. No more ICM.
Joseph trying to wait for a slightly better spot.
He does have a stack to protect. He's got
Yeah.
a decent amount of chips here.
He's got, bottom pair, bottom kicker, and if he doesn't want to be a hero, he can probably find a better spot. It's okay to fold there, I guess. I mean,
He's going to have
I
to
would
start,
usually call once.
He's
but-
going to have to start fighting back eventually because
Yeah.
as we've seen, TJ's style is to just keep pounding away.
Well, I mean, this is going to work really well for TJ, right? It's, because of the chips, he's already a huge favorite, and then his style is going to really work now that they're heads up. It's just going to be hard for Joseph to find hands that he can go with because, it's just one other guy.
Joseph limping the king 5. Nobody likes that flop.
Whole lot of nothing for everyone.
Backdoor flush draw for Joseph. Backdoor straight draw for TJ. That wouldn't be a good straight if it got there, really. TJ's just going to lead out of the big blind, it looks like, and I think that's going to work.
Yep. This is TJ, again, flexing those muscles. Oh, and
Joseph calls.
Wow.
Oh, Joseph has plans.
Okay, you know what? So we're talking about him fighting back. There you go. The fighting back has begun.
Oh, the 9 is great for Joseph's
it's
range.
hard. TJ can have a 9 himself.
He can, but Joseph has so many 9s here.
Joseph also just got to watch how TJ played trip 8s on the turn against Digital Dan. See if that factors. TJ looks like he's going to bet this. Not to say he would always check trip 9s, but we just saw him check trips like
It's
2 hands ago.
Probably going to work.
Yeah, Joseph
nonetheless.
Joseph just doesn't have much. This is one of the worst hands he can show up with here. He did have 2 backdoors and king high and an over before. And now he just has king high and decides not to go. But this is a great example of TJ's style really helping him out here. Like, this is the time where you're just supposed to keep kicking him in the leg,
Till he falls over.
Or, just till his leg hurts.
Can't play well when your leg hurts.
It's harder. It's distracting. Joseph still with 32 blinds, though. Comfortable. He can still pick a good spot. He's looking for one. Sometimes people wonder if there's been a deal. There has not. These guys are playing straight up for the $3,000 that separates second and first.
All right, Joseph's taking some aggressive action here. He's raising over TJ's limp with the 10-7 suited.
I like it.
Made it a little small for the
Yep.
situation. Probably should have bet a bit bigger, give
like-
himself some fold equity.
Like 2,000.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit better. But okay. He at least has a playable hand.
It's a good window card.
Oh,
and-
wow.
Well, we could get it in here on this flop very
Yes.
easily.
I wouldn't expect Joseph to be folding with top pair heads up against an aggressive opponent where he's getting short-ish. When you look at the stack to pot. TJ could just put in a big raise here. It wouldn't be crazy.
Yep, he could.
I would expect him to. Or he can just call, which is also not unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's fine to call there. However, on the
what
turn,
kind of card would we get it in with? 4 or 5 maybe? Probably not an 8.
probably not. If it was the 8 of spades and TJ decided to lose his mind, maybe. If Joseph bets again. I don't know if TJ is going to be able to continue.
He bets 4,000 now.
4,000 into 6.8. The only way you can really just call this if you're TJ is if you really believe you're going to get the rest on the river. But the river, if you get there, is going to be an ace sometimes. We could absolutely kill action.
Yep.
A 6 wouldn't.
An ace might not, though. Joseph does have aces in his range, considering he raised pre-flop over the limp.
It's true. But since he's bet twice, now an ace is a little bit less part of his range.
ace 3, ace deuce, or ace 10.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to bet ace 3 and ace deuce twice. But
looks like TJ is going to continue in the hand here.
Okay. Well, this pot's getting big. This pot is getting real.
And it's a 5.
Interesting card. Joseph holds with top pair, and he's got less than a pot left. He checks.
I think that's fine.
It is fine. TJ checks it right back correctly. I think that's got to be right to check it back. You pray Joseph has ace-jack there.
And that breathes some life into Joseph's tournament here.
Yeah.
Up over 40 bigs now. Closing the gap.
Still way behind, but, one double, and he's the chip leader. That's all it'll take now. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And 40 blinds. You got time. Joseph picked the right time to raise from the big blind there. Sorry, the small blind there. Sorry, the big blind there.
Sorry, the small blind there. He was on the.
Sorry,
he was in the hijack.
Joseph's with another good hand.
All right. Well, he would be happy to get it in even for 40 blinds heads up here.
Of course. Of course he would.
And TJ just saw that Joseph raised with 10-7, so that's good for. Well, we're definitely getting it in here, right?
So the only question for TJ is how does he want to size it? He's just going to move him in right now.
Yeah, and I don't think Joseph can fold.
Joseph doesn't even consider it, as he shouldn't.
And this is a monster pot.
Yeah. This is 53K in the pot, and TJ's got the best of it so far.
I mean, barely.
Bit more now, 74% equity. He's one card away.
Just an ace or king. Oh.
And there it is, Joseph Rivers, the king.
That hurts real bad when you're TJ because
it's a $3,000 river.
Yeah, the money jumps are not really much until you get to the second to first money jump.
Yeah. Wow. 3K. He was, going to buy that 1974 Honda, and now
that was Dan.
Oh,
TJ's not interested in cars.
I know, but he was going to buy it anyway, just to shove it in Dan's face.
I'd be like, you can't not get this car fixed. I can't.
It's got to feel so good. This is one of the reasons why, people like to play Ace King all in is a lot when they have reasonable stacks to do so you get to see all 5 cards.
Yep. And Joseph now is the chip lead for the first time in the tournament.
I mean, wow. Joseph has been hanging in there for so long. Never had a lot of stack to play with until just now. But here we go. Now he's in incredible shape.
This happens a lot in tournaments. You know, you just hang around and then suddenly good things start happening.
You pick up 2 hands. People double you up, and you're the chip leader.
And TJ's got to be just mentally a little bit shot from this whole thing, like being in the chip lead, just commanding the table, and now he doesn't have the chip lead anymore, and he's got to really work for it.
Joseph flops best. TJ with 2 back doors and queen high. It's a whole lot of nothing.
Joseph
on the turn.
Gonna bet to protect here. 6 of spades was the turn card.
I expect TJ's just going to give this one up. You'd have to get into cape mode to make this call.
Capes were in the spring of 2014, It was a nice accessory.
I mean, I was at New York Fashion Week. I remember.
Yeah, of course. It was a great week.
It was a truly memorable time. If you remember Justin Verlander.
Yeah, I remember that guy, the pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Justin Verlander. I will. I mean, it's not weird.
All right, Joseph has a hand he can open on the button.
Yeah.
1800.
TJ clear defending hand.
Yep. He can 3-bet if he wants. They're deep enough that Joseph's not going to 4-bet that frequently.
Yeah.
Defending is just fine, though.
This hand plays pretty well heads up. I think this is a pretty good defend hand.
I agree. That's probably what I would usually do.
Yeah. And TJ agrees as well.
It's rare you get to be this deep heads up in a sit and go.
Yeah, it's true.
The last eliminations just happened so fast that we got heads up pretty quick.
Our first sit and go, we got way deeper in.
All right, a little something
flop
for everybody. TJ's got the second enough flush draw. Joseph's got the gut shot to Broadway.
TJ can find ways to win this, though. I thought he might check raise, but
he's just going to lead, huh? That's a little, I don't know. This is I think, bad range-based lead.
Well, here's the thing that he can do, though. He can lead and then 3-bet all in.
He can.
That would be the move,
but
right?
That's such a huge bet. I mean, like, they started super deep.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, that has to be part of the plan, right?
Wow.
That
okay.
is the card.
TJ has made second pair. He still has the flush draw. Joseph has the nuts.
This is a cooler card, and TJ's going to bet again.
You could check here.
He absolutely could check. I'm not.
It's a big
I mean,
bet,
he could have
too.
checked the flop, but especially on the turn after Joseph calls once.
I mean, when he bets again, he's folding out the jacks. He's getting called by the aces. He's getting raised by a lot of better hands.
Yep.
We have showdown value. I think checking is far superior.
It's going to be really interesting because I believe Joseph's obviously going to raise this a lot of the time, right? He's got the nuts. The guy's bet into him twice.
He doesn't block any pairs.
It's a great time to raise. And it'll be interesting to see, based on sizing, what TJ ends up doing here.
Looks like he's got the raise in his hand there.
Yeah. Saw a red chip. That's a 5K chip. There's the raise. Let's see what he makes it.
Small raise, 14,000.
So it's 8K more to call. I think this is just a pretty clear call for
14.8.
TJ. Still 9K to call.
Yeah.
Pretty clear call. TJ moves in, and Joseph insta calls. Holy moly.
Wow. TJ did not have to move in there. He has showdown value.
Wow. Well, this could be it.
You see, 23.6K remaining.
If a spade comes on the river, TJ's going to be...
Oh,
That
that's it.
That is it.
Joseph wins, and with the turn of a card.
Holy moly. Like, 2 out of the last 3 hands, just monstrous for Joseph. Look at him. He just won the whole thing.
Taking it classy-like.
Yep. Got to feel good.
What a monster turn card and monster action from these two players.
That was an incredible turn card.
That is what you call a comeback. Wow, Joseph was just hanging on for basically the entire time. He never got anything going, and then all of a sudden, bloop, 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 all the chips.
This is one of the things about No Limit Hold'em that is really beautiful and terrifying about it. You kind of are just hanging in there, scraping along, and he won 2 out of the last 3 hands, and it was just over.
Yeah, and there were huge hands to bust out Digital Dan and then to bust out TJ in the end. And just like that, after all of that work for all of those guys accumulating those chips, the guy who was just hanging on ends up winning. Good job, Joseph.
Yeah, fantastic job. Congratulations to you, Joseph. Also to TJ and Digital Dan, both for breaking even and making some money.